Exhausted, frustrated, buried under an endless pile of laundry, I felt resentment creeping through me like a slow poison. He came home late again, and without glancing up, the words spilled out, "I don't love you anymore. You're just someone I share parenting with." The silence that followed was suffocating, long enough for me to realize I had gone too far, short enough that I couldn't retract them. If you've ever spoken from anger, want to make someone feel your pain, you'll understand the sting. It's still sharp for me to recall. We hadn't always been distant. Once, he had been my anchor, the calm to my chaos. Where I faltered, he steadied me. Where I doubted, he believed. Our daughter arrived sooner than planned. Parenthood didn't destroy us, but it buried us under endless duties. We forgot ourselves. I stopped seeing him as a partner, viewing him instead as a co-manager of diapers, groceries, and chores. He'd tread lightly, cautious, exhausted, unsure. I grew colder, bitter, heart shrinking bit by bit. One evening, after putting our daughter to bed, I folded laundry in silence. He sat nearby, scrolling on his phone. We hadn't touched in weeks, barely spoken in months. Then he asked softly, "Do you still care for me?" I clutched a tiny dress, struggling for words. A sharp laugh escaped me, not from amusement, but because the question had been long overdue. "I admire how great you are with her," I said, "but sometimes it feels like I'm just co-managing parenthood with a stranger." He didn't respond immediately. His eyes blinked slowly before he rose and walked the hall. The faint sound of a suitcase scraping across the floor hit me like a blow. He wasn't going to argue. He accepted my words as truth and started packing. I whispered, "Wait." He paused only to close the bag, then said, "If that's how you see me, I won't stay where I'm not wanted as a partner." Calm, quiet, hollow, he walked past me. That night, I slept on the sofa, not out of necessity, but because our bed smelled of him, and it was unbearable. In the morning, our daughter asked where he was. I said he was at her grandmother's. Not entirely false, but the truth was harsher. My words had sent him away. Days blurred into weeks. His messages were brief, practical, about our daughter, lacking warmth. The man who once left long voicemails just to say he loved me now texted like a distant acquaintance. I had earned this distance. I tried rationalizing it to friends. We had grown apart, I said, but deep down I knew the truth. He still showed he cared. He made coffee exactly how I liked, even in our coldest moments. He massaged my shoulders when I ached. Even when I ignored him, he still called me darling, and I recoiled at the word. I pushed him away, piece by piece, until that night delivered the final blow. I assumed he would return eventually, after time and space, but he didn't. Weeks later, he sent a shared calendar link for parenting schedules. No words of reconciliation, just logistics. When he dropped off our daughter, he didn't cross the threshold. He kissed her forehead, handed me her bag, and left. I wanted to shout, "Come in, fight for us," but I had convinced him there was nothing left to fight for. I sat on the kitchen floor that night, back against the fridge, crying as if I had lost someone permanently, because love hadn't vanished suddenly. It had eroded silently, through neglect, distance, and one careless sentence too many. If you've ever watched someone you still love slip away because of your own words, you know this ache. Months later, we sat in a mediator's office. He wasn't angry. He seemed free from the woman who made him feel small, free from the bitter version of me. I was left with the title, single mother, and the memory of the night he stopped trying to be more than a co-parent. Now, 6 months on, our communication is mostly about our daughter. Sometimes he asks how I am, and I say, "I'm okay, but not really." The words I used to push him away succeeded. And the worst part is he believed them. I've realized that people aren't lost in a fight or argument. They're lost in the silence after a cutting word. They leave not out of rage, but because they finally accept that they were never truly wanted. If this resonates, if you've ever used words to shield yourself from hurt or replay a line you wish you could take back, know that pain is shared. Sometimes love isn't destroyed. It's quietly abandoned in the spaces left by silence and misunderstanding.